do have a lot of listings coming on the market. I was actually shocked to hear how many people actually have something coming on. We had, how many? There had to have been 6, 8 new listings.
6 to 8. But when you said, we've been saying this on the radio that like we're gonna be busy. We're gonna be busy. This is exactly like this is our first office meeting since spring market started, which is the day after Super Bowl. We're gonna be busy. It's gonna be busy out there.
It is.
But yeah, so we thought it would be an appropriate time to sort of talk about our roadmap to success, which is selling your home. So hopefully we can get through sort of, I wanted to get your take, Kristen. So like, yes, you're an independent contractor here and you have your own way of being very successful in your business. But, you know, just like Sharon, you sell real estate full time as well.
Yeah.
You're not just the broker owner of Boston Connect Real Estate. You do sell real estate yourself.
Yeah.
But, you know, everybody's different and everybody has their own, you know, way of business. And I sort of wanted to give a little sneak peek and say what you do.
Oh, and you know, I feel like it was like Romper Room right there, and you had like the little mirror, and it says, "Let me look into your world." You remember how she used to do that?
I love when she gazes into my eyes during the radio show.
Who, me?
Yeah, love it.
I gaze into your eyes.
I love when you talk to me like I'm the only person in the room. Usually I am, but.
Well, I'm going to let everybody know that. Who do we have in studio tonight, Larry?
I believe.
I don't know. I think it's Larry.
Hello, Larry. Larry, you know what? Usually when I'm like the head host here, I always say hello to whoever's in the studio. So hello to Larry.
Hello there.
Yeah, and the good news is if you have any questions about this topic or any other topic, you can call into the studio, or guess what? There's more. You can text 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900. You can get over to Larry. Larry will get you to us, or you can send a text there if you're a little too shy to call in. But we also are on Facebook, so if you want to go onto Facebook, Boston Connect Real Estate, you will find us there as well. So, yeah, I just thought I'd say that.
Yeah. Well, Sharon, you sort of came up with this topic when we were talking in the beginning of the year about, you know, some of the things that we want to get done in the first quarter of the year for our radio show, and roadmap to success, selling your home, was something that you had come up with. Do you know why?
Not really. Do you remember why? I mean, I think we were in a meeting and I wanted the meeting to stop.
Maybe I shouldn't put you guys on the spot tonight.
I wanted the meeting to stop, so I was like, all right, here's our full calendar for the first quarter. But I would just say the roadmap to success is, you know, getting you from A to Z and everything in between, and there are a lot of moving parts to it. We sort of hit upon it on Saturday too, Melissa, when we were talking about, you know, the essential, you know, things for seniors to consider when they're buying or selling a home, right? So, you know, just, there's so many things that go on in between, but certainly making sure that you have your real estate advisor at the helm that's like sort of putting together a whole team. And I'm sure that Kristen would also say that, you know, the people that she knows and the people that she has in her arena will make it a lot easier, right? So you don't have to, when we're saying, all right, then you have to get a Title V inspection and then blah, 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 blah. And then we're not just rattling things off, right? You have people and you just have to sit back and say, but don't worry about all of that. I got that.
I think the first part of sort of the roadmap, so maybe the first stop on our journey, I think, is understanding what's going on in the market. So, you know, it's even before putting the sign in the front yard. It's educating your client on what's going on in the market. So how do you guys do that? How do you educate your clients when
Funny that you say that.
Yeah. Is it?
Because did you say
funny like haha?
No.
Funny you should ask. That's
Funny
like one of my favorite little shows.
I just rebranded a little marketing piece. So I think that's part of it too. Even with us, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. I think the reason why we're all so calm about this is because we've anticipated it, and we've also worked on our business to make it so that when this does happen and when this does come, we're ready. Right?
Yeah.
So I like to go over everything. I just did my first, I haven't done it in so long, on Zoom, and it was a listing presentation. And I had a nightmare about it the night before.
Oh, like
that all these
school,
people
taking a study at school, like taking a test at school or something.
Because I feel like I have it down pat in front of people coming in the office or going to their house. And this was Zoom, and I'm not really good with Zoom, and I was worried about like getting it set up, and then I couldn't let him in the room, and I was talking to somebody else, but I'd had a dream the night before that there were like when I opened up the Zoom, there were 45 people waiting, and they were all asking me questions.
You told me this, that
I
you had
know.
that dream
Yeah,
then.
yeah,
So-
you did.
That's probably because you were picking up on my real life, because I was doing a Zoom last week as well, and it was 3 people selling new listing coming on in Quincy, and they're going to be selling their dad's home. Their dad just passed away a few months ago, but I have 2 screens, and sometimes like I'm sharing my screen, and I was like, well, you're looking at the wrong one, and then I'm like, I'm panicking on the inside, but I'm totally looking in at Melissa because her office is right there. And I always know, hey, if I'm going to drown, I know she's going to throw me the life preserver, right?
Yeah.
I got you. I'm like that little boat that comes back after the Titanic. It's like, is anyone out there?
Does anyone need help on Zoom?
Does anyone need help on Zoom? No.
Anyway, back to what you asked.
Yes, what I asked was, how do you educate your clients? Because, you could be out there thinking, okay, I want to sell my house. Where do I start? Where do I begin? But like, you need to know what's going on with sellers. You hear, oh, it's a seller's market. It's a seller's market. Well, what does that mean? And are you going to get what you need to move forward or move from your home? So, educating the client is first on our journey, first step on our journey. Do you agree?
I agree.
And I think too, and I was just going to ask Kristen this question too, so you're going to be bombarded with questions right now, is, I think that the biggest question is in the most important piece of the whole process of putting your house on the market is pricing it accurately.
Yeah.
And I love, and I mentioned this on Saturday as well, these people that I was talking to, the daughter, it's the woman and her 2 brothers. And she said that she saw something online, and it was a real estate agent doing like a little TikTok or something. And it said that underpricing is the new overpricing, right? Overpricing is the new underpricing,
Yeah, you
whichever
said
way.
that. I didn't disagree.
Yeah. And what she meant by that was, back in the day, people would say, I'm going to put my house on the market for $500,000, or I'm going to put my house on the market for $550. Let somebody throw me an offer. If I end up with 500, I'll be happy.
Yeah. Negotiate down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
negotiate down. Now we're negotiating up. And it's put your house on the market for the appropriate amount based on the sold comps that we're looking at. And then you'll probably have people throwing you money above it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I can hear voices and it's like distracting
I think
me.
that we all too, I know you and I talk about this a lot. I price thinking of the appraisal in mind.
Yep.
And I try to do it correctly. Marianne Trask, Steph Millette, and I took an awesome appraisal class a couple of years ago. These 2 guys, it was the appraisal class, and then we did another one. It was the appraisals 2.0, and it really taught us how to think like an appraiser. And basically they said, you guys have to do some work too. I mean, we can help you with, arguing an appraisal, a low appraisal, we can help you with that. But if you look at it like this, which I never knew, there's a certain algorithm. And when we do, like when I go to meet an appraiser, I always have some comps. I put it in a nice Boston Connect envelope. I put any of the list of any improvements that were there, and I leave it. I'm not pushy, but I've had appraisers who were appreciative because there were comps on there that they didn't have, and they can get marked for that.
Yep.
They can get penalized for it.
Well, you always say that you have to sell a house twice. So you sell a house to a buyer first, and then you have to sell it to an appraiser, which is, if they're, getting a loan and everything, and then it's not cash, then you have to, have that. Or if they did not waive the contingency.
I recently got a designation. What was that called? Strategic pricing strategist or something. What's that? I hate all those initials and everything, but it was a good class to take. But
Oh, it's like
I'll be honest.
SSR.
SRA or I don't remember, but it was. Anyways, I have that designation. You can see how much I care.
It means a lot to you.
It doesn't really mean a lot to me, but I wanted to learn and see if there was anything I was missing. I thought that, there were things that I definitely agreed with, and then that there were things that I would probably do a little bit differently. I mean, it's been working for me for 21 years. So, because an appraiser they do things a little bit differently sometimes, but I do remember that the instructor told me that I was doing it the wrong way for 21 years. I was like, all right. And then at the end of the day, our numbers came out exactly the same. So I was like, no, it's like the new math and the old math.
Yeah. I think when it comes to, like talking to your seller clients, it's also important to highlight some of the things that's going on with buyers. So what are buyers looking for? Interest rates are going to impact whether or not someone can afford your house too, So
I felt like I've done a few CMAs in the past couple of weeks, and I felt like this was trickier because we're coming off the holidays. We're coming off higher interest rates. So it was a little bit trickier. I felt, did you feel like that too?
What were you seeing when you were looking at that? Were you seeing that a lot of the closed properties or a lot of the sold properties, were you seeing like the sale price to list price ratio being above, or were you seeing things that were under? Because
Either right at or a little bit under.
yeah, so I was seeing the same thing when I was doing my.
And there weren't a lot of
CMA.
comps.
Yep. Yeah, so I had just done a couple. I did one in Quincy and one in Duxbury, and I was noticing the same thing. And it's almost like this time of year, you're sort of guessing at what the market is and where it's going to go, but you have to be very careful with that because you can't test a market. It will test you, and you can't do that. So you're better off just using the comparisons you have, knowing and being happy with whatever that price is going to be, but fully understanding there is no inventory still, and you're going to get emotional value and people will bid higher. I mean, you're in a situation right now on a property, you have an offer in, and did he say how many offers are on the table? He asked everybody to come back for their highest and best.
Yeah. And we've been, it's been all weekend and a long weekend, and it's tough.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm interested to see how many he has on the table.
I asked twice, and I got a few earlier today. When I asked how many, he said a few.
Well, we also had, there was another listing that had like 25 showings, but no offers, right? So you have to be careful.
Yeah. Again, it all comes down to having realistic expectations and what's going on in the market. And it's just sort of also knowing what else is on the market too. So if other things comparable to your property, have they been sitting? Are they overpriced? Is something going on with the property? Is it just not being marketed well? Like what are those factors?
Somebody text a question last weekend, remember?
Yeah.
On Saturday, somebody from Carver texted into the studio and said, or maybe that was last Tuesday. It might have been last Tuesday when we were with Larry, and said that the house has been on the market.
Here, but I think it was last Tuesday.
Yeah.
I wasn't here.
The house was on the market and it isn't selling. Like what's wrong with
I think
it?
that was last Tuesday. Someone's asking a question right now.
Oh.
They're not 100% on. I think they're missing some words here, but the question is, I had to bid over asking when I purchased a condo back in August, and the buyer underbid my asking price in November. Now, they say their question is, should I have waited until now to sell and get at least my, and that it cuts off there. So I don't know if they want to write back what they're trying to finish in the text, or if you guys understand any of that.
Read it one more time.
I had to bid over asking when purchased a condo in August. The buyer underbid my asking price in November. My question, should I have waited until now to sell to get at least, and the rest is missing.
So I'm wondering if it was somebody who bought a condo and then did a flip. It sounds like a renovation, because if they bought it in August and then they're selling it in November, I'm wondering if they did some renovations. But whoever that caller was, I mean, feel free to call us. You don't have to give us your name or your details or anything. But we'd love to talk that through with you so we can
Maybe
better
they're
understand
thinking,
it.
like November and the holidays. I didn't anticipate that the holidays were going to affect pricing as much as they probably did.
It did this year, don't you think?
I think it was more the holidays and the interest rates.
I really think
Yeah.
it's so interesting that you brought that up, because as I was doing the couple CMAs that I was doing recently, I was just like, this one is, this is the list price, but they got under asking. And I was really surprised because the house was nice and it looked down, and I was like, according to the other comps though, like in my head, I'm doing all this calculation, and I was like, when did this one go on the market? And every single time it was like November, in November, like right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's something actually that I want to sort of track and see, if that definitely was an impact this year. If you saw it where you were looking and I saw it where I was looking, in two different, I mean, one was in Quincy and one was in Duxbury, and I saw the same thing. So hopefully
I think it's important to figure out first and foremost, what is your seller's, what is your ultimate goal? Are you
What's the motivation
Are
behind
you
it?
right sizing? Are you, have you grown out of your space? Do you need to sell to buy? I think that all, kind of falls into place. And I think both of us our listings that are coming on are both situations where they're just going to sell. So
Yeah.
there's no real, that's really an ideal situation because there's no timeline. We're not restricted to anything. It's really just let's get it on for a good price and get you the most that we can.
I'd say that this year, what I'm anticipating is the people that are going to have a hard time getting their offers accepted are going to be the one with the home sale contingencies, just because I think it's just going to be there's so many people that just don't have the contingency and you're going to lose out to them. So I just think, it is a good time to put your house on the market right now. You want to be one of less inventory versus one of more, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think having sort of the conversation, having like sort of a roadmap or whatever you want to call it, it helps manage expectations. So it provides a direction and you're all on the same page of this is what our goal is. And like you just said, it's important to know what a seller's motivation is. Is it because they need to right size because of whatever it is that's going on in their lives, or do they simply just want the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time? Like you just never know unless you have the conversation. So just being upfront and honest with each other, you're working on the same team. So
Well, we brought this up earlier too. So Mary's actually in with some buyer clients right now, and we were talking between the two subdivisions that we have. I think we have 17 reservations. They're either in reservation stage or the under agreement stage. Larry, you trying to get us?
Yeah, the guy's calling it Vin. And I have the
okay.
text message. Go ahead, Vin.
Hi, I'll be quick. Thank you for answering. So I was buying and selling.
Okay.
So I was first trying to buy, and so the buyer, I had to overbid my asking price in order to get the condo. All right. Then cut now to November, trying to sell my place. The buyer underbid, new buyer underbid. So it was sort of a, seller's market when I was trying to buy and a buyer's market when I was trying to sell. So my question was, should I just wait it until now rather than accept an offer that's lower than my asking price? And then I was saying, I was trying to avoid paying double mortgage. So that's what I was asking. That makes sense.
Do you want to take that?
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Well, I think so that's what Melissa was just saying too, is like, your motivation like at that time is that you didn't want to have two mortgages. So I'm curious. So one is, did you purchase your first house? You had to overbid on that in August. So did you make that not contingent upon the sale of your house, obviously, right? Because then you didn't put
That's
the other,
correct.
So then you didn't put the other one on until November, which we were seeing a lot of that going on, you know what I mean? That people just felt that they had to do that. I mean, here's the bigger question. Do you absolutely love the house that you're in right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then it was worth it. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, you got the house that you wanted, right? So it doesn't really matter at the end of the day if you ended up with a few thousand extra dollars, but you were paying that extra mortgage payment and things like that. So long as you love where you are, and even if you did the calculations, if I told you, hey, Van, if you put your house on the market today versus then, and you could have made $10,000 more, would it really have but it could have swayed, you know what I mean? But then you would have had those
Yeah,
extra
yeah.
payments and the stress.
Right.
I'm telling you right now, the stress of holding two mortgages is enough for me to say, hey, I'll give you 50 grand for that stress, you know? So
Well,
I'm
thank
going to
you. That's
make you,
very helpful.
I'm going to let you sleep well tonight,
Yeah.
Van. You made the right decision. You love your house. You got the house you wanted. Your house got sold. There are no problems with it. So sleep tight. Sleep
Did you
tight.
actually sell your condo?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, good.
So I sold. Yeah, so everything's working out now. I didn't want to also deal with the snow, too. I was trying to.
Yeah.
I had a house, and I didn't know what the weather was going to be like.
And
But-
I'll be
but
honest.
thank you for your time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm going to add this one thing. You know what? If first of all, real estate is hindsight is 2020, and we also don't have a crystal ball. So, the rates could have still gone up, and you could have, I think you had to go with the decision that worked for you, because who knows? The rates could have gone up, and you could have taken even more of a hit. So,
True.
Yeah.
Oh, no, thank you. I appreciate it.
You made the right decision. Sleep tight, baby. Sleep tight.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
Have a
Take
good
care.
night. Yeah. And see that, and this is really what it comes down to, right? That's what we did with them when we're talking about that emotional value. He was such a great example of that because at the end of the day, he got exactly what he wanted. He loves his home. So nothing else really matters.
Right.
You know, he's going to be in this for, you know, the long term, it seems like. And, you know, I think he did the right thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
Yeah.
I do too.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, we don't have a crystal ball, and I always say the right time to sell or to buy is when it's right time for you.
You have
And
been saying that.
I've been saying it forever. So
Forever.
you know, it just everything happens for a reason, and that's the way that it happened. And you know, you can sleep well tonight. I promise you. So do we have anything else that we want to discuss before we get into preparing for selling? No.
I think
You're
that's good.
both just
I think
staring
you're
at
right.
me.
Well, I was thinking you guys, because I don't even remember what we were specifically talking about.
I think you're right, though.
Roadmap to success. Yeah.
Yeah, you have a roadmap. You come up with a plan.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, even we'll use Van. I think that he said his name was Van. We'll use him as this example is, you know, his roadmap. Maybe it wasn't exactly what he thought. It seems to me that, you know, if he found the house that he found in August, probably on a whim, like, oh, I'm just looking, and then you fall in love, right? So being prepared. I mean, I think that maybe, you know, you never know when the one is going to show up for you. So if you are thinking about, oh, I'm thinking about doing something further into the spring, I'm thinking about starting to look, definitely be prepared by getting your house prepared and being ready for those moments. So Mary and I have a condo coming on, a 55 plus in Pembroke, and we're going to be coming on the market, and it's not for a while. We're waiting for some estate stuff to sort of clear up, but we're going to have the photographer. We're going through, we're doing some of that type of stuff. So we're ready to go. But a good example of this, even though that's an estate one, if somebody was living in that, I would still say, let's start doing some of the clean out. Let's get the house ready. Maybe we do take those pictures if there's no snow outside and it looks good. You know, do all those things. Well, the house that you bought, Melissa,
Yeah.
the exterior was completed before the interior, and I had the photographer go back twice because I was like, you know what? They have this nice tree out front. They really want those photos. Let's take those photos. So when you were talking about a roadmap to success, it really is looking at that calendar long term. It seems like with Van, he probably just on a whim saw this house. He didn't have his house ready to go on the market yet. And that's why he didn't go on until whenever that was, October, November.
Yeah.
And some people don't want the stress of buying and selling at the same time.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I have another person under agreement, same situation.
Yeah.
And if you can do it, that's really the best way to do it.
Just roll your dice. We should get some dice. Well, let's get some dice, Melissa. Can you have some made? I bet you we can on Etsy. Like some is weight or, you know what I mean? Like,
we're really going to roll the dice.
yeah, like roll the dice. Like what? It's all stress at the end of the day. It just matters how much of it you, like what's going to be your stress level. And your
Can we take any more stress?
I have another question that just popped into my head.
Okay. Yeah.
So recently, have you noticed that a lot of the listings that are coming on are empty?
Yes.
Right?
And a lot of estate stuff I've been doing. Yeah.
So how do you feel about that? Because I have a listing coming on, and they're moving some stuff, donating some stuff, and putting some stuff in storage. I did ask for some items like the couch, maybe some things to keep. I thought maybe it would be a good idea to keep the beds in the bedroom. But then the more I thought about it, unless we're really going to stage fully, I don't really see a big difference because even the ones that are empty are still selling. I would have never said that a couple of years ago. I would have said, oh no, we need to put something, at least some furniture in there as opposed to.
Yeah. I know like a lot of the houses too, even if they're vacant, you know, they usually have somebody that's staying in the house like throughout the week or, you know what I mean, sort of checking in on the house, staying there weekends and stuff, finishing up all the stuff. So generally we'll see a lot of these estate properties with, you know, at least one bedroom that's sort of set up, you know, just for liability and insurance purposes, right? So we're seeing a lot of that. I just think that, yeah, when you're looking through houses, staging is important, but then I don't know. I just feel like if it's priced according to the condition it's in and the way that the property looks, then it's going to sell anyways.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I've been seeing a lot of, and Kristen, I'm wondering for you if you've been seeing, I've been seeing a ton of relos that have been coming in. So a lot of relos coming to our new construction. And actually, I met with some today that looked at Cushing Trails, and they're relocating from Virginia because they want to be closer to family. So I think that the people that I'm seeing moving aren't the people that are just like, oh, I'm going to move because I can get a bigger house at a 2.5 rate. You know what I mean? It's people who are moving for reasons.
Maybe work or
Yeah,
be
work,
close to
work.
family.
Yep, I've had some that were moving. I actually had 2 calls this week on Cushing, and they were relocating because of work. And then I had this one relocating. Oh no, actually 2 relocating for family. Yeah, I'm going to be talking to one later tonight. Actually,
Interesting.
putting in a reservation on Cushing.
Awesome.
So I think my most important thing to preparing the house is staging. But now, like I said, I'm kind of flip flopping where I'm not so much. I can do like a light stage with like some,
Just make sure
decor
it's
and
clean.
things.
Well, that's the difference. I mean, staging could also just mean clean.
Yeah. Or taking
know,
down curtains.
taking-
And,
Yeah, taking down
down-
drapes.
Yeah.
Remember
but-
drapes?
But more important to me is curb appeal.
Yes.
Yeah, get that outside done.
You okay over there? Remember drapes?
Remember
just a funny word.
cornice, valance?
Oh, the valance. Yeah.
Oh yeah, with like the
If you're on Facebook, she's
Yeah, they're like
making
that.
some.
Take
some-
those down.
Yeah.
No offense to anyone who has them.
no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but you're selling windows.
Well, and this is the thing. It's like I feel like those are heavy. When you look at them, that was why people enjoyed them and liked them, because the quality felt like real good quality. Now it's just like, get that down.
It's
I
a
need
lot.
to change out my curtains.
They're heavy.
Yeah.
I need to get curtains.
I don't have any curtains.
I don't
either.
have
I
any
don't like
curtains.
them.
Well,
I have some. I have shares, I guess.
all right. Well,
So it's funny
you don't have drapes, that's for sure.
it's funny that we put in maintaining well manicured lawn and landscaping. I always say a fresh new front door. Paint that front door, freshen it up.
I think I'm gonna paint my front door.
Oh,
Yeah, you know, one of the things too when we're talking about staging, and if you're looking at properties online, and just so you know, when you're looking at certain websites and you think you're clicking for more information and you think you're getting a listing agent, you're not. You have to scroll all the way down and say listed by. That's how you know who the real listing agent is to give you the most amount of, information on that property. I just want to put that out there.
Just so you know.
Just so you know. And well, because I had an issue with it this past weekend. It was just redonkulous. What was I saying? Oh, so a lot of times people are virtually staging properties.
I know.
So there was a property that we were looking at down in Florida, and it was actually my brother-in-law's old house, and it's on the market. It's been on the market for a while. And I noticed that she did some virtual staging, and I was like, oh yeah, I can tell she did virtual staging. And Mark's like, how can you tell? And I said, well, look at this picture. I said, do those stools look familiar? He goes, yeah, those are my brother's. He probably left them there. I go, okay. I said, now look at this picture, and you see the stools in the background. They're different. So it was like all virtually staged. But I think that to me, I don't really like that. Do you? I
Well,
think it makes the property
sometimes-
look better than it actually is.
Well, I'll be honest. One that we just put an offer on over the weekend, and the staging was so good that when I walked in, I was like, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting this to be vacant. The virtual staging was so nice and perfect that that's what I thought I was walking into.
yeah. And then when you're sort
And
of disappointed when you're there.
And it wasn't disclosed. Usually they will
disclose
have to
it.
say
Yeah,
this
you
has
should.
been virtually.
Well,
yeah.
remember, there was a time I was referred to somebody, and they wanted. I did a CMA for them, and they wanted me to virtually stage. But not only did they want me to virtually stage, they wanted me to like change out the carpet to hardwood and do things like
Yeah.
that weren't in there. And I was like, I can't do that. You're misrepresenting what the house really
Yeah.
is. And lo
Yeah,
and
you got to be
behold,
careful with that.
yeah, well, they found someone who would. So, I mean, obviously, when you walk into that, because his argument was, well, when they get here, they'll see that it isn't. And I was like, yeah, but you're
You
getting
got
them,
people
you've
there.
gotten them there on a false pretense. Like, I
Yeah.
could never do an open house.
I'd call the police. Just saying. No, I would definitely be disappointed. I mean, I was in, my buyers, you're laughing too hard, but as a buyer out there, I saw a lot of houses, and if I knew right away getting to a house that
Yes,
like
you did.
it was just not what I expected. So, yeah,
That's what I mean. Don't you think it's a bigger disappointment when you get there? So, like, you were expecting to see like this great house and like this nice furniture. Was it more of a disappointment?
Well, my buyers had gone to the open
Why are
house
you
over the
doing that?
weekend because I was like
Shocked? Yeah.
My buyers had gone to the open house over the weekend and then they loved it. So we went in for a showing Sunday morning and I literally was like, whoa, wait, I wasn't even expecting this.
Because, I mean, potentially it could bring down the value of things, right? Well, and here's the other thing, too. We had somebody who recently wanted one of our agents to, like, virtually redo a kitchen that wasn't redone. Like, oh, the bathrooms are going to be redone, like, just virtually staged, like,
yes.
virtually do it over with AI. Like, there's so much you can do with AI, but there are certainly things you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
If the bathroom isn't renovated, no, you can't just make up pictures.
Yeah.
You can't price a house according to what AI comes up with as the way it
Yeah.
looks.
Yeah. I mean, it's different when you're taking an exterior photo of a house and like you change like it might have been a cloudy day and now you
Yeah.
put the sun in there.
As I like to
it's
say, when
different.
you zhuzh it up a
when
little
you
bit.
zhuzh it up a little bit. But you're not changing the roof. You're not changing, you're not adding a pool. In the
Yeah, you're softening a blemish
know?
as opposed to
softening it,
yeah,
yeah.
They're embellishing a little bit, right?
Yeah.
face
But
tuning.
one of the things was, where was I just going with this? Keep on talking.
Well,
Sorry.
even with like Twilight pictures and stuff. I mean, sometimes they don't go there at Twilight. They're taking a picture
Yeah.
and then making it.
Yeah.
I can sort of see I can tell those ones too.
Yeah, they just
I
look
was
so.
gonna say something.
They look fake. to me.
Listen, I'm a big Twilight. I love the
I
Twilight.
love the Twilight
ones.
ones.
I think in reality, in theory, they're great, but they
Yeah.
just look so fake to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm buying that house, I'm not going to be hanging outside staring at it at nighttime. You know what I mean? I'm going to be living in it. So
So one person had said to me, I just had to write down the word because I was forgetting what I was saying. So recently I was doing a CMA for somebody and they said, this house has great bones. Like somebody can do this, somebody can do that. Like they can lift up this carpet and they can put down hardwood. They could do this, they could do that. Yeah, they can, but you can't get the equity of somebody else's hard work and money. Like
Yeah.
just because a house can become that doesn't mean
Yeah.
you as the seller is the one reaping the benefit of it.
Oh
The-
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, the person who reaps the benefit is the person who does it.
reason for them to keep the money in their pocket so they can do it down the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not going to give it to you.
Yeah, exactly. So I when people do say that to me, I always have to remind them, yep, those are all possibilities.
Yes, great potential.
So Mel, I
Has
think
great
you
potential.
Mm-hmm.
had a good point earlier too. That
Thank you.
I think too, coming into this market of 2024, we have to work. Agents have to work.
Yeah, you
There's
gotta
no
work.
more. We've been saying this. We said it last year. No more sticking a sign in the door on the front lawn, putting a lockbox on, and walking away and letting. Listen, there might be some that do it, but when if you want your house to sell and you want it to sell for top dollar,
Can I tell you? So my daughter Mackenzie, she's going to be getting pre-approved with Jasmine Glasgow.
Nice.
Yep, from Maritime Mortgage. Jasmine's on with us all the time, and she wants to maybe buy like a small condo or something up in New Hampshire, like someplace she can go hiking in the summer, maybe do some skiing in the winter, or something like that. She just wants something of her own. And she showed me some things she was looking at, and then I found this other one, and I was like, "Well, let me text the agent and make sure you can do Airbnb in this development and everything." I texted the agent twice. I still have not heard back from her. Still, like, what are you doing? Like,
Well, maybe she just doesn't need your buyer.
yeah.
Is that true?
Well, I would be going directly to her.
Yeah.
You know what I
She
mean?
doesn't know.
well, yeah, that's too bad.
Isn't it? I mean, I just don't understand. I mean, would you ever think of
Not
as
working best
surprised
for your client.
as a listing agent, like that you wouldn't respond or return a phone call?
Well,
Gives
there
me
are people
agita.
out there. There are people out there.
Yeah.
Which is more annoying to you, that or drapes?
Well, she's spicy today, isn't she? Yeah, she's a year older.
I'm a year older and not much wiser. But yeah. Okay, so anything else with preparing before we get to pricing?
I think preparing your house, look at the outside. Really.
Yeah.
Look at the outside. That to me is because you're going to have people who drive by. You're going to have people who, You want them to come in and look. I say all the time, it's like online dating. We're going to give enough so that they want to get more, but not give away the house.
Yeah.
Oh, literally. Not give away the house.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
giving it away.
Yeah.
Someone's got to buy it.
Yeah. But isn't that a gambling term? Give away
Give
the
away
house.
the house? Oh, yeah, something
Is it?
like that.
I don't know. The only thing that came to my mind is you don't give up the milk for free or something like that.
Yeah, if you give up
Buy the cow and you can get the milk for free. I think that's a whole nother.
I think that might be
that's
a
a
whole
whole nother-
nother topic.
That's a whole nother show on a different station.
All right, yeah. Sorry, Larry.
late night. Yeah, I don't know, something about giving away the house for free. But I went to Vegas and gambled $60, so I don't really know anything about. I mean, that's about it. That's all I know to gamble with.
I lost $60 in Aruba too. I was devastated. I don't gamble. I don't get it. I'd
Yeah, I
rather
don't
buy
get
a
it
bag. I'd rather save it and buy a bag.
Yeah,
I'm not a
that
gambler
is
either.
true. Yeah, I'm not a gambler. Speaking of not being a gambler, you should not gamble on the price of your house. And how do we get? How do we
So
get
corny.
to the? Shut up. How do we get to pricing somebody's home? What's your process?
If I had known this was going to be this
Comparables.
fun, I'd come every Tuesday night.
Comparables. I obsess over it. I look at it 50 ways till Sunday.
Do you ever see Trish Flynn doing a CMA?
Yep.
I
I
mean, you
still
want
have-
to talk
I
about
still have
Says that
Trish's
it takes her
instructions.
like 4 hours.
Trish uses more ink and more paper than any human I know. And I'll
She
say
goes
to her,
by the square footage.
yeah, and she has paper like all over the place. We love Trish Flynn. Trish Flynn
Yeah.
is part of the Flynn team with her husband Nick. They are wonderful full-time agents
She
here
is
at Boston
so
Connect.
thorough.
She is so thorough.
So thorough.
Yeah.
To the penny.
Yeah.
she'll tell you.
Yeah.
She'll tell you the
yeah.
value to the penny.
When the time comes for me to list my house, I'm definitely having her do a
you're gonna
I'm gonna
hire Trish Flynn.
hire Trish Flynn to do it. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, it's definitely give me the price. She has more paper. I
Yeah.
don't know what she does with it all.
So how do you come to the price? How do you come to a price or
totally
a range? It should be
I'm a
range.
post whisperer. I go in the houses. The house tells me what it's worth, and then
my
I go
gosh.
with it.
No.
I should not have eaten that cake.
Okay. It was my birthday cake. It's good. It's good luck to eat birthday cake.
No, the way I do comps, I really love the way I do it, and I do think that my clients appreciate the way that I do it because it's very transparent. And a lot of times you're just showing up. Agents are just showing up, and they're saying, "Okay, here's my market analysis that I've done for you. Here, let's flip through the pages. These are the 3 houses that I chose. Here are 2 that are under agreement. Here are 3 that sold. Here's 1 that's on the market." And you have to take the agent's word that that's everything that they're seeing. Do you know if they're just choosing the highest priced listings in hopes of getting a listing and then asking you for a price adjustment down the road? I'm not saying anyone's doing this, but how do you know? Or are they giving you the lowest price comps out there just so they can easily get the house sold? And maybe you'd end up with multiple offers, but it would happen quickly. I don't like doing it that way. I like bringing people on Zoom or into the office, going directly into MLS, and I say, this is how I do my CMA. This is how I come up with the numbers. Now, one that I recently did for Quincy, we had to do it. You were helping me, Kristen, you and Mary. I went in several different ways to try to figure out how to do this. I mean, because we first went in, we looked at like what's on the market, what's contingent, what's under agreement, and what's sold. When we tried to do it, we did just West Quincy because we wanted to stick to that area. And then if I did style, nothing came up. So that's usually the first way we'll do it. Then we got rid of that, and then we did square footage. But that was really eye-opening, right? Because Mary did it by a map, and she kept on saying this one comp. And I was like, Mary, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing
That's
it.
funny.
And it's because that agent put in West Quincy rather than Quincy, and it wasn't showing up in my search for some reason or another when I was doing it. So anyways, that's another story. I meant to bring that up in the office meeting today. But I'm showing people exactly what I can see from, maybe something on the market for $200,000 down to something that's on the market for $2 million, but they can see everything I can see, and I like to
And I think
open
it's
them.
important when you do that too, because I do like to do that too. And you can show the seller okay, this is why this one sold.
Exactly.
It may have a newer kitchen in your kitchen, or your house might have a brand new kitchen and this one did not. So you're really, you have to compare apples to apples, but also, like we say all the time, Zillow, Redfin, all of those that are giving you these estimates and that, spitting out what your comp could be, they're not inside your house. They're not looking at the nitty gritty, which is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about somebody coming into your house with a price in mind before they've even looked at it?
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like when I'm doing a CMA for somebody. I always say to them, please don't tell me what you think the value of your house is, because I'm a benefactor. I want to make everyone happy, but I don't want to have their number in my head. And when I was kidding around earlier saying I'm just the house whisperer and I go into houses, we know the market so well that there are a lot of times where immediately in your head, you'll be like, oh, I remember this one down the street. It sold for this. And you're sort of, playing this little game in your head, a little video game. But looking at the comps is what's most important. And my job is to make people happy. But my job isn't to just satisfy them because they want a certain number. They're hiring me because they want me to tell them what the market is.
Right.
I'm the one that's telling them this is what I think the number is. This is where the range is. This is why I think you should do it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, my job is to educate you on the market. Your job is to really choose that final price. And then for us, I have told people, I'm sorry, I can't work for you. This was a different market, but one woman in particular, she was like $100,000. An agent told her $100,000 more than me. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm never $100,000 off. And, she ended up listing it with somebody else, but then I watched price break. Got to the point where what she ended up selling for was under what I thought she could start at and probably would have went over.
Yeah.
So that's
So that is, we like to call that what?
Chasing the market.
Backwards momentum.
Backwards momentum. You came
I
up
use
with
that all the time.
Yeah.
But also, too, I think that it is important. And I was also going to piggyback on, if you hire an agent to come in, if they're coming into your house, they've never stepped foot in your house, and they already have something all prepared with the price.
Yeah.
That doesn't really work either.
No.
So take your time. A lot of us like to do a two stops. We come in, we look at your house. We can, kind of talk about, now I'm prefacing it by saying, I'm going to tell you how I like to work. Let's see if we can work together. And then I'm going to go home and do my homework and then come up with a price for you.
Yeah. And I think one of the common questions that come up is, what is your commission? How much do you get paid? And, and people are using that to negotiate, you know what I mean? Our job is to get you the most amount of money. And when people are always asking that commission question, one thing I just want our listeners to know is, if you are interviewing several agents, and I think that that's a really good idea, because it's really who you jive with, really, at the end of the day, who you feel is going to do the best job for you. But if somebody says, who else are you interviewing? I never ask that question either, because I don't really care. I'm there to give you value. Yeah. But if they put a contract in front of you and say, hey, if you sign this contract right now, I will do it for a lesser commission, that should be telling you something. Yeah. Don't be, we said this for our seniors the other day, don't be pulled into those types of tactics that are just high pressure tactics. Yeah. That's not how you want to sell a house, for sure.
That is not. No.
Final words. One thing I do want to say, Ginny asked us to promote her listing, Oak Street. She asked us to mention it.
Oh,
I pulled it up.
Yeah,
and
put it up.
Now I can't find it.
It's in the interoffice.
Yeah, so Ginny Wandell has a new listing that's coming on Oak Street in Pembroke, and it is split level, I believe, raised ranch or something like that. We don't have all the details, but you can contact the office tomorrow at 781-826-8000.
Yeah, 10 Oak. Can I say?
Yeah, go ahead. 10 Oak Street in Pembroke, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bath, coming on for $520.
Mm-hmm. So that's tomorrow with Ginny Wandell. So you can get in touch with her at the office, or go to bostonconnect.com and you can find the information there. Anything else?
Nope. I will see you Saturday with Tracy Grady. Woohoo!
What are you guys talking about?
Permitting.
Oh, I'll be in Orlando.
The South Shore's first choice for live team coverage of breaking news, emergency traffic, and severe weather. 95.9 WATD FM Marshfield and 95.9 WATD.
It was like when I first got in here, I was like, oh my God.